The following is rated not safe for work. It contains strong language, adult situations, and lots of spoilers. Discretion is advised.
In the criminal justice system, cinematic-based offenses are considered especially heinous. The dedicated attorneys who investigate these villainous films are members of an elite squad known as the Reels of Justice. These are their stories.
Order, please, order. The Reels of Justice is now in session. Judge Dylan J. Schlender presiding. Your eyes for the Honorable Judge Schlender.
Dick move.
Be seated. Welcome to the Reels of Justice. Today we are hearing the case of The People versus Firestorm, a 1998 action film that follows a firefighter as he races against a blazing forest fire to stop deadly convicts from escaping justice. For those of you unfamiliar with our court proceedings, we are here to determine if this film is guilty of being a bad movie. As always in this courtroom, films are to be considered excellent until proven awful, and the burden of proof lies upon the prosecution to prove beyond a shadow of a reasonable doubt that this film is guilty. Mr. Maynard Bangs, you are representing the prosecution. You may present your opening statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, look who we've got in the hot seat this week. The so-called Fire Guy. Well, Mr. Fire Guy, we know how well you handle those little torches, but let's see how well you juggle the facts. 1998's Firestorm. What an appropriate title for a film that, much like its namesake, has the power to suck all of the air right out of the room. What else can you say about Firestorm other than it's a firefighting movie that isn't about firefighting? Instead, it has a stupidly convoluted plot about a prison break and a subplot about arson that feels scraped together from 3 or 4 other stupidly convoluted plots they had lying around. Its leading man isn't. Firestorm, unfortunately, also happened to be a test vehicle, a tryout, as it were, to establish former NFL defensive end Howie Long of the Oakland Raiders as a low-budget action hero. Let's just say there was a little fumble, and Howie didn't make the cut. In fact, you might even say it backfired. Speaking of, they start a literal backfire in this movie, and that would have been a 10 times better title. But before I get pulled down the path of just senselessly womping on this film, I'll stop here and save the rest for after the preliminaries.
Thank you, Mr. Bangs. Appearing on behalf of the defense is Mr. Brant Fire Guy Matthews. Please present your opening statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now let's take a trip back to 1998. Now, not 1999, which of course was a great era of movie making, or year of movie making for that matter. But 1998 was a different time. There was no reality TV. There was no ice truck drivers in Alaska. So if you wanted to learn about the secret and elite world of smoke jumpers, how is one to do it, Your Honor? There is no programming. The only way is to create a feature film to give a window into the American people about what these elite smoke jumpers are achieving and the dangers they face, such as the Firestorm. Who would you choose to be an elite? Now, when I say elite jumpers, there's 30,000 woodland firefighters out there every year fighting to save homes, families, and lives. Out of those 30,000 woodland firefighters, there are only 400 trained to parachute into a burning forest. Now, let me tell you, in 1998, I did not know about smoke jumpers. You did not know what smoke jumpers. Nobody did. Who would we get to play the hero to give us this window? And I say Howie Long isn't just the best character for this. He is the only character for this. Now, the opposition, or the, what do you guys call the...
You call it the opposition, that's fine.
Okay.
Opposing counsel.
The opposing counsel said that how he was a defensive end. Now, in 1981, he was a defensive end. But let's be clear, from 1982 to 1983, he was an 8-time Pro Bowl left defensive end. And I think by being that good, playing 179 games in the NFL, gives me a little, makes me feel a little bit upset that the opposition isn't giving him his fair time. Who plays 179 games? Well, someone who could be a smoke jumper, who could jump and parachute into a firestorm. So I say this movie is not even just an action movie. This movie is also a love story, and I will prove that in this defense of a wonderful 1998 cinema classic.
Thank you, Fire Guy. Mr. Bangs, you may proceed with your first exhibit.
Hey, let's start this off hot. This movie is not really about firefighting. Yes, there are firefighters in it, but we barely see them firefighting once they're done with their little Top Gun-esque firefighter camp at the beginning. Instead, the film basically uses forest fires as an excuse to enable a bunch of convicts to escape from prison, because I guess forest fires were just too gosh darn boring to make a whole movie about. Probably the real reason the script makes no sense is because this project was originally planned to star Sylvester Stallone and feature a much higher budget, but its original studio, Savoy Pictures, went bankrupt, so 20th Century Fox picked it up, drastically reduced the budget, and had the script undergo no less than 5 rewrites, including one by Graham Yost, the screenwriter of Speed. Alas, even he couldn't get this project any momentum. The story we're seeing here feels like several disjointed elements from those different rewrites, stuffed into a greasy fast food bag, scotch taped into a ball, and hurled directly into the audience's face at 63 miles an hour from outside the window of the director, Dean Smemler's mom's Ford Windstar.
All right, Fire Guy, can you respond to this? Is there cohesion, or is it just a bunch of stapled together plots?
Well, I look at this movie as an investigation into man and woman, and I actually don't see it as an action film and as a love story, because Howie Long, when he starts this process of being a hero, he's a little bit loose. You know, he plays by his own rules. He's jumping out of helicopters. Even the helicopters guy is saying, again, this guy is off the chain, right?
He's a real maverick. He's a real maverick, you might
but
say.
Until Susie or Miss Cameron, as Jennifer, comes into the picture, she heals him physically, emotionally. They're able to... Now, what we haven't talked about is a bad guy. And William Forsythe, as Shay, is a bad guy. And someone has to fight this type of bad guy. He is so bad that I offer that Howie Long is the only person that could. Now, this is before.
He's so bad he kills his own men. He's so evil.
He's so bad. You know, he even fakes his... I don't want to spoil.
Can't stop killing. Can't.
You can
absolutely spoils.
You can spoil for sure.
Yeah.
Well, faking his way out of prison... And then by killing someone who got a tattoo that he had drawn on him shows that he is a bad guy.
He's like a genius, right?
I think he's so bad he's beyond genius. He's
what I'd like to go into is
All
we'll
right.
go into this plot into a lot more detail here. All right.
Okay.
So Howie Long is what they call a smoke jumper. And their firefighters were dropped into remote wildfires as
elite
sort of first responder. Yep. Now let me just see if I can come up with a cooler name than smoke jumper real quick. Fire shoots, blaze busters, flaming angels. Yes, I can. Unfortunately, that's what they're actually called.
No, you can't.
So I can't hold the film at fault. But also, there's this bank robber who we mentioned in a prison someplace, right? Played by William Forsythe. I know the two don't really seem related right now, but that's just because they aren't. Now, this bank robber, you see, he's also a sadistic serial killer, okay? And possibly a master of disguise. He has a lot of stuff going on. And I know what you're thinking, Maynard. If he's a bank robber and a serial killer, don't those two things seem like they sort of conflict? And yes. Okay, so William Forsythe stole $37 million 4 years ago, and he hid it someplace in the wildfire-prone Wyoming wilderness because he's a genius, right? So his plan is to infiltrate the inmate volunteer firefighters and slip away when they're fighting the next fire and collect his money. Not a bad idea, although this is not how the inmate firefighting program works. The inmates would have stayed at the camp. They had been given proper firefighting training over a matter of weeks. They wouldn't be brought back to their cells every single night, and they wouldn't be seemingly so clueless about fire and how it moves as we see they are in this movie.
All right, Fire Guy, would you like to respond to the effectiveness of his William Forsythe?
And I do agree. When the inmates were on the run and didn't realize that fire moved upwards, that seemed to be a flaw in the script.
A genius should probably know that, don't you think?
I agree, but I don't think William Forsythe Shea is really more than the opposition we all face in life, because his character is a metaphor for all evil. So you really have to discount his acting and think of him as just a force for the average NFL viewer to watch the window of a smoke jumper trying to do the right thing, which is learn to love. And Susie Armis Cameron saves some birds. She's a bird watcher.
Oh, yeah.
And this is really important.
What is it?
Well, if you're going to bring your girlfriend to this movie, I think it is important. And I think in 1998, if you were an NFL fan and were bringing your girlfriend to see Firestorm, it was important that you had some hand-holding moments. And I think they knocked it out of the park. I want to get to the love angle plot momentarily, but I do want to talk about some of the other ones, right? Because there's a couple of plots going on here, right? There's many plots, and we haven't even talked about Wint and the
I know. I'm actually just about to. About to right now.
Okay. So all right. Let's hear it, Mr. Maynard.
Now, to ensure there actually is a wildfire that necessitates the inmate volunteers, Forsythe has his lawyer on the outside, which we only learn in a thrown away line of dialogue, contact a semi-retired smoke jumper named Wint, played by Scott Glenn, typecast here only because he was also an arsonist firefighter in Backdraft. And they pay him, to start wildfires. I repeat that. The highly experienced, highly decorated wilderness firefighter is going to willingly start wilderness fires for profit?
I object. We see Wint going through a traumatic leg injury caused by Jesse and his desire to save
caused by
life
Jesse,
at
caused
the beginning.
by a
We
fire.
see Wint lose his ability to be a smoke jumper in scene 1 of the film. So
sure,
and
then
he's struggling to survive, and
he gets another job. He doesn't start fires for profit. He's somebody who knows exactly how unpredictable and difficult to control something like this would be.
You know what the job market was like in 1998?
Based on the fact that Scott Glenn took this movie, not good.
Please, order.
And also, Scott Glenn, he doesn't even make an attempt to control them, because the movie shows us him starting these fires by just leaving lit cigarettes and matches lying around and driving the fuck off. So if this seems like something that an otherwise upstanding guy like Scott Glenn, who has been shown that he would be the whole movie, wouldn't do, that's because it isn't something he would do.
Well, in a diabolical twist of fate, after Wint said, "Let's get that girl," I believed that he was a good soul in this story. But as injury can happen, like happened in the first scene, he ended up going to the dark side, creating fires for William Forsythe. I did not see that coming, that he was a perpetrator from the beginning of this film.
No, it's like it wasn't developed at all. You wouldn't have seen it coming at all. Now, also, why the fuck could the lawyer not just do this himself? There doesn't seem to be any special skill involved in dropping a lit cigarette and matches and driving the fuck off, especially if no pains are taken to keep it under control. Why involve Scott Glenn at all and risk having your entire operation exposed? Not to mention, you gotta pay him now. And if you think the film wants to deal with the moral ramifications of Scott Glenn's betrayal against his fellow smoke jumpers, you'd be wrong. Howie Long has already begun forgiving Scott Glenn before he's even finished confessing. Howie, I gotta tell you, I'm the one what's been starting all these fights. No, that's okay. No, Howie, seriously, I've been knowingly endangering the lives of my friends and countless others. Don't even mention it. Don't you think I'm a shitty friend in person? Hey, nobody's perfect.
Captain.
Firestorm is a window into a world, not a, this isn't a Joseph Campbell-esque hero's journey, but the hero is the everyday American. And watching Howie Long show you how you should act is enough to justify this film for what it was supposed to be. This is not a blockbuster. This is, like you said...
Objection. This should absolutely be aiming to be a blockbuster. It's ripping off countless blockbusters from, like I mentioned, Top Gun, Backdraft, Speed, Twister a little bit. I mean, Cliffhanger. Almost any action thing, it pulls everything out of the toolkit. It's definitely aiming for blockbuster. It just doesn't have a blockbuster budget. But now, speaking of subplots that don't go anywhere, remember that 37 million hidden somewhere in the Wyoming wilderness? Because the filmmakers didn't. Apparently it got burned up or something. I don't know. They just sort of vaguely mention it in a line of dialogue. You might have missed it if you weren't paying attention, which you weren't. Now, why do we even need the hidden millions MacGuffin anyway? I'm sorry, is escaping prison not motivation enough for these prisoners to escape prison? Did they need an alternative incentive to carry out this plan?
They are bad guys.
They are
bad guys.
They are bad guys. I agree with that. Now we're going to get to your love story. I love this. Anyway, this is your love part. After the group of 6 convicts stage a successful uprising against the 20-person security detail employed to prevent exactly that, they happen upon a random ornithologist who apparently has no idea that in order to get away from a forest fire, you have to go in the opposite direction of it. Adoy. But she just so happens to be single and ready to mingle. Ding, ding, ding. Just what the movie was missing. A love interest. Test audiences are going to be thrilled. Oh, and get this. This is going to come in handy when the bullets start flying. She was also apparently a U.S. Marine Corps medic. Or, quote, may as well have been. Because stolen valor isn't a thing. Despite that the fact that the Marines don't even have their own medical personnel, they use the Navy's medics.
All right, Fire Guy, any comments on, you've mentioned the,
well, I was thinking that Howie Long was injured and he wasn't doing so well. And then Jennifer comes along. She helps him. She makes him stronger. She tells him to chill. She observes birds. I don't know if you know this.
She does. I did know that.
And this is a serious thing for her.
But
to the
why?
point where she bicycles into, and she was willing to give up her bicycle. And I don't know many people that would give up their bicycle, but she was willing to give up her bicycle in the movie, which I thought in the middle
of a forest fire
was. But still, you might need it. But she went. She's very trusting. And I think that's a good character trait in a film person.
All right. And, I got a few more punches to lay on this thing.
Please.
Finally, Howie Long parachutes back into the movie. Disappointingly, not while screaming for a drawn-out long amount of time. Very against type. First thing he does, he gets stuck in a fucking tree, immediately establishing what sort of threat he poses to his enemies. This man can barely parachute. Who knows what else he can barely do? He might be capable of doing barely anything. In an effort to thwart the clearly heroic Long, William Forsythe begins killing off all of his own men one at a time because he's a genius. Yet, likely in an effort to confuse both Howie and the audience, Forsythe basically kills off all of his own guys without much of help at all from Howie, unless you count losing a fist fight to that one big fake blonde diehard terrorist as helping, which I don't. So Forsythe kills all of them because he's super duper evil. Fast forward anyway, the film finally climaxes at this lake where a firestorm is going to converge. At long last, we have our title. Then Howie Long defies...
I would like to interject. Yes.
Sure.
The one thing I do appreciate about this film is that they didn't hang the firestorm over our heads, and it was only mentioned at 1 hour and 11 minutes into the movie, showing the restraint they had while telling this deeply important story. Sorry, go on.
Okay.
It's like Godot, and the firestorm is Godot, and we've been waiting for it. So then Howie Long defies physics by throwing a fire axe overhead with both arms into William Forsythe's chest from over 30 feet away while treading water deeper than his head. Howie and the Valor Stealer then hide from the firestorm beneath an overturned boat made of some miraculously heat-resistant materials. But William Forsythe, having survived the improbable axe wound, and no, I don't mean Susie Amiss, now finding himself with the perfect opportunity to finally escape, under the cover of the ensuing firestorm, ensuring the authorities search fruitlessly for his remains for weeks. Just when that perfect opportunity presents itself, William Forsythe opts instead to take the machine gun he finds submerged at the bottom of the lake, swim with it up to the overturned boat, and attempts to shoot Howie Long in the fucking face from exactly 3 inches away because he's a genius. Luckily, Howie shoves Forsythe's head up through the hole in the hull, a hole, I might add, that would have ignited the air under the boat immediately. And Howie and the ornithologist live happily ever after. Oh, and she had bird eggs like the whole time, and then they hatched for some reason. You might think they'd have broken in all that ensuing ruckus and firestorm, but they didn't. I don't know what they mean, but she has them. And again, we just recap the entire plot. Ask yourself, just how often were we talking about firefighting?
All right. Are you going to rest there, Mr. Maynard?
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Bangs. Fire Guy, you may proceed with anything you have in defense of the movie.
I would like to talk about bad guys and good guys.
All right.
Howie Long is a good guy. He was a hard-working NFLer from 1981 to 1993. He played for the Oakland Raiders. And I think he switched up to the LA Raiders. And this guy stayed the course and had to deal with one of the craziest NFL franchises in America. In a very difficult position, 179 games. This movie was made for the people that watched Howie Long's 12-year NFL career. So we don't judge Firestorm by a fantastic movie like Yentl. We judge it by many different standards. We judge it by who Howie Long is, what he was trying to do in this movie, which was beat a bad guy, a very, very bad guy.
Very evil.
And
super evil.
He was trying to learn to love, and he had to learn complexities of a difficult relationship with Wint. Now, is Wint Yoda? No, he's not a transformative figure. He's reality. He's somebody looking for a paycheck to do a bit part in a movie that's going to get him a lot of dough.
That's Scott Glenn.
Yeah, and that's Scott Glenn, and he had already done Backdraft. What year is Backdraft?
Ryan?
91.
Does anyone know? Sorry, this shouldn't be.
No, that's why we have Ryan. He knows.
Ryan
What year
knows.
is Backdraft? 1990, like 3 or 4 or something. 91. So after years of not being in Backdraft, Scott Glenn had a right and need to be in another fire movie.
He had Backdraft again. Well, he was already in Man on Fire, I think, and Courage Under Fire, or is that Forsythe?
But
Well,
these
Maynard,
weren't
can you-
these were not fire-themed films.
That's true.
Okay.
Now, Your Honor, Howie Long had just come off a successful small part in 1996 Broken Arrow, and because it's well known that anyone acting in close enough proximity to Christian Slater will appear much better than they actually are, just ask Patricia Arquette, the studio executives thought they could turn Howie into a low-budget action movie star. Now I want everyone here to close their eyes and think about how closely they associate Howie Long with action movie heroism. And I think you'll understand how successful the film was at doing this. But I don't want to pick on poor Howie because, yes, I often mistook him for one of the surrounding trees. That's how wooden his performance was. But ultimately, he's not an actor, is he? He's a football player they shoved into a movie. And by that standard, Howie doesn't do all that bad. Not compared to some of the other people in this movie who were supposed to actually be real actors. Like, what's the deal with Forsythe's performance? I know the script didn't give his character any real backstory or motivation, but he could have probably have done more than just smirk knowingly half the time. He was at his best faking being a Canadian lumberjack, which is just another diehard ripoff. And Scott Glenn must have been, or not a Canadian firefighter, not a lumberjack. And Scott Glenn, he must have been confused.
All Canadians are lumberjacks.
Scott Glenn must have been as confused about his character as we were, but at least he was able to fall back on his trademark stoicism.
All right.
I object.
But anyway, one final thing on Howie. I could leave the movie willing to believe he was a firefighter, but not willing to believe he was an action star. And that was what he was there to prove.
All right, Fire Guy, if you'd like to move on to another point or address anything.
It's really difficult to come up with points, guys. I got to be honest. I'm watching the movie going like, what am I doing here? I'm trying to.
Don't give up the ghost yet. No, you're doing great. You're doing
great.
If you don't have another point, it's okay to rest.
Okay. Well, I want to say that we haven't talked about something that's really, really important.
Okay.
And this is the motorcycle.
Yes, here we go.
Motorcycles are exciting. And in 1998, this is before Nitro Circus. This is before people knew how cool motorcycle daredevils are.
Objection! Evel Knievel was incredibly popular in 1970s.
No, but I object because I don't think that Evel Knievel was able to do like
stunts like Howie Long
and was able to take I never saw Evel Knievel have a woman behind him and then climb over him to get on top of a motorcycle. Now, if I'm a 1998 NFL fan and I'm riding a motorcycle and I need a woman to climb on top of me and get into the front of the seat, this is an exciting window into a world, again, that is really fun and shows the jovialness of this film. That's why I say it's not necessarily just an action film. The
prosecution does stipulate this. This will teach you interesting ways to get on bikes.
It's also a love story. Is it Sleepless in Seattle? No. But it's smokiness in Firestorm.
All right. Did you want to rest there, Fire Guy?
I'm resting, man. That's it.
Okay, very good. Both sides have rested their cases and will now present their closing arguments. Mr. Bangs, you may begin.
Your Honor, distinguished members of the court, you cannot throw an axe overhead while treading water at the same time.
Watch me.
I submit to you that it's physically impossible. In order to make any kind of overhead throw, requires the muscles of the lower extremities and upper extremities to work in concert. You need to have your feet planted on terra firma to get the leverage you need if you're going to have any kind of rotation, any kind of torque upon impact. No way you can get that leverage you need while treading with only your legs, not to mention how hard it would be to keep your head above water with your arms straight up in the air. You'd go down like a lead balloon. And Howie Long does it with a fire axe, too. That's not a traditional throwing axe design like we would find in an axe throwing competition like a tomahawk or a hatchet. This is a splitting axe or a splitting maul. And while you can throw those kinds of axes, fun fact, it's a lot more challenging, even when you aren't in water deeper than your head, which he was. If the defense wants to suggest that such a throw is possible, I think the jury is going to find that harder than swallow than he does those little torches. Guilty!
I want to know where you looked up that information. I really want to know.
The internet.
I really want to see a Mythbusters about this now, but we'll get to that later. Thank you, Mr. Bangs. Fire Guy, you may present your closing arguments.
Thank you, Your Honor. There are 30,000 wildland firefighters in the United States. Only 400 are trained to parachute into blazing forest fires, inaccessible to ground crews. These elite men and women are called smoke jumpers. I say this Howie Long film, Firestorm, is about smoke jumpers and about learning about a wonderful profession of brave men like Howie Long is trying to portray. Is it the best film ever made? Maybe not. But it's still a window into a world that we would never have thought about until this film was made. There are bad guys in the world, and I'm grateful that Howie Long is a good guy, ready to meet the challenge to fight back.
Thank you. Members of the jury, Mr. Dylan J. Schlender, Mr. Big Ben Haslar, and Mr. Shake and Bake, Ryan Luis Rodriguez. You have all heard the facts concerning this case. It is now up to you to determine if this film is guilty of being a bad movie. The bailiff will escort you to the deliberation room to render your verdict.
Right this way. Do you suppose firefighters in Greece just make it worse when they pour water on them? Get it? Grease fire.
Yes. You're very,
you don't
very
pour
clever.
water on a grease fire. Get it? Yeah.
No,
Bailiff nailed the joke.
Yes, no, great job, bailiff.
I like it.
All right, that fire guy. Can I use your name? Brant Matthews, was it?
Yeah, sure. I don't care. Yeah.
Interesting. I like the way that this guy can dance, because I cannot dance that well when defending something this terrible. He had something to say for everything, regardless of whether or not I believed it or not. Ryan, what did you think of this movie? I saw on Letterboxd you said you kind of loved it. Explain this to me.
Not kind of loved it. I think we're overstating that a bit. I had such a good time watching this movie. I mean, it's directed by the cinematography of the Road Warriors, so he has an eye.
And Dances with Wolves.
I was on board when they used David Bowie's Cat People theme. That was right up my alley. And I was legitimately surprised that I did not check the time until an hour in. And by that point, it was already in Act 3. This thing fucking moves. I enjoyed this movie. It is great afternoon viewing on TNT, just like Plane. Except I think I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Plane. I had a good time. However, this is not a good movie. This is not in any way a good movie. Did I enjoy my hour and a half? I absolutely did. But if I'm sitting here and I'm weighing the pros and the cons, and I'm weighing one side against the other, I think you know which side was right.
Yeah.
Because the defense tended to agree with the prosecution. So
what a hard first case for this guy to do. he stayed in there.
Well, okay, hold on, man. Let me
jump
in here because I'm a bit of an advocate for this movie. I'm not gonna look.
Was this your suggestion? This film?
Yes, this is one that I had on the list for a while, and it may be found guilty, but it's certainly not deserved of the reputation it does have. It's just so incredibly poorly reviewed, and I think it has a lot going for it because Howie Long does bring a lot of physicality and presence to the screen,
presence?
And I think so.
Maybe.
No, I think so. I think he is it's like even Maynard said, he is a believable firefighter. It struggles getting
he is a believable firefighter, but he's doing they don't do that for most of the movie. They're hunting
I know, but that's the thing. So the things he's doing in the action hero role are slightly more believable. Obviously, there's an issue with this throwing of the fire axe. I would like to try that. Howie Long is jacked as hell, so if anyone could do it, it would be him. And I do have to agree with Maynard.
Throw an axe from the not an axe, what's it called? What is it? The chainsaw from a motorcycle.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That too. Yeah. So I wish this didn't tank Howie Long's chances at being a modest action star.
No, I think we killed him mercifully. We gave him a shot. We didn't belabor it. We're just no, thanks, dude.
I think there could have been potential there. But anyway, I do think
Dylan, come on.
No,
I will grant
not
you he
giving
didn't
up
fall
Howie
on his
Long.
face. I didn't hate him. He didn't fall on his
he-
face and
this
embarrass
was
himself. But
It was his first time being
Yeah.
a leading man. Okay, so it takes a couple chances to get it perfect, But like Ryan said, this is a very enjoyable Saturday afternoon film, and I think you could pick up from both counselors that they enjoyed the movie on some level. I am beginning to, like I said, I am willing to concede that we're probably going to end up finding it guilty, but I really think this movie deserved a good defense, and I think it got one today. Even though it does have flaws, it is a flawed movie, but I do think when you look at the pieces involved, the director is not normally a director; he's a cinematographer. Howie Long's first shot at being a leading man. Lots of things going on here, and I think you have to take movies like this and kind of grade them on a curve. You have to accept some of that silliness with it and really lean into the fact that it's enjoyable.
Are you ready to lock in?
Oh, okay, fine. I'll lock in. I'm gonna say not guilty.
Well, Rob's not here. Otherwise, I would make him lock in first.
That's fair.
I want to hear more from Ben, though.
Oh yeah, Ben.
I didn't like it. I didn't have fun with it.
That's fair.
It had 5 plots for the price of 1. I guess that's nice. And Howie Long wasn't terrible. That's the only good things I have to say about it. It was convoluted as hell. The bad guy, he just had every bad guy trope sort of stapled into him. They didn't put any thought into this script at all. I hated it.
I would have liked to have seen. Honestly, instead of casting William Forsythe, they should have used the big guy from the 13th Warrior there. That was Beowulf there, and he should have been the main bad guy. That way, he could have had a really cool fight with Howie Long at the end. That fight that they had should have been the one at the end, because William Forsythe is just gonna get his ass kicked by Howie Long. You need someone that can match.
And why wasn't it called Smoke Jumpers?
Fake
I mean,
Canadian
it opens
accent.
with.
Oh my god, that is hilarious.
I really like.
He scolds someone else for having a bad
accent?
one.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what he thinks they sound like. I don't think it's supposed to be good.
What would you say?
But
that house scene was really difficult to defend.
I'll get this other lawyer out of here. Come here, you.
You needed to use the bathroom. It's all right.
All right. So. Okay, so Ben, what are your final thoughts on that? And then I guess we could start locking stuff in.
Why wasn't it called Smoke Jumpers? I mean, it opened with the term smoke jumpers, and that's a cool word. Why did they use Firestorm that only comes into play at the end?
Well, because even the smoke jumping didn't really come into play that much, as we pointed out.
True.
So,
which of these 5 plots do you name it after?
All right, look, if this was a fun case, it was a good case. It was kind of silly. I do think at the end of the day, we had more fun with it than not. So I'm comfortable saying not guilty, and because I have this is a special movie to me. I just really enjoyed it, and I really think we had enough meat on the bone for the defense. If this was Howie Long's 5th attempt at being a leading man, I think there would be circumstances where we can't afford to grade this one on a curve, but. I really don't think
failed a screen test before this film.
But I'm going not guilty today.
Ryan, you said you kind of liked it.
I did. I would watch it again easily. But if we're stacking the case against the case, Rob had the better case. It's that simple. So, even though I enjoyed watching this movie, it is not a good movie. It is guilty.
Yeah. I unfortunately agree, although I did like Brant Matthews' case because I could not defend it as well as he did. I would like to see him defend a good movie. I think he'd be unstoppable.
Good movies don't need defenses.
Well, yeah, if he could do that sort of dancing around with something that actually has substance to it, that'd be something. He should have done Reign of Fire. Where was that? If only someone would have suggested it.
That movie's boring.
No, I was just kidding. Anyway, let's go tell that. Is the judge handsome? Yeah, I guess so. Let's go tell that very handsome judge.
It was funny when I was trying to think of a movie for the fire guy. Pretty much any movie that has fire as a plot device works really well for our show.
Fireproof.
Oh, not Fireproof. Fireproof would be harder.
All right. Mr. Foreman, have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor, in the case of the People versus Firestorm, we find the defendant guilty of being a bad boy.
He's doing the Howie scream there.
Yeah.
The verdict is so
That was the best
rendered.
one I've ever done.
That was a good one.
You don't need any more wins, though. I felt bad.
I used to be able to do a
With the
pretty
man,
good
let the
scream.
man deliver his verdict.
Yeah, here we are. Order in the court, please. The verdict is so rendered. Firestorm is to receive a glut of direct-to-video sequels, probably starring Dolph Lundgren. Court is adjourned.
I fucking watch that.
Probably would be better. Who am I kidding?
This is Grumbly Grumblerson, the angriest man in podcasting, reporting to you live from outside the Reels of Justice. Maynard Bangs, would you care to share your thoughts on the jury's verdict? And remember, I hate you.
Oh, it was a close one in there, Grumbly, because I think that this is the kind of movie that people want to like for just being kind of nuts. I didn't hate it, but it is convoluted, so it was fun to sort of take down. But Schlender is full of shit. I'll take that bet. No way. You're in like 10 feet of water, treading, full-size axe, over your head, two-handed throw. You're going right down. You're not throwing that thing more than a couple of feet.
Hey, we gotta try it. I got a pool. You have an axe. Let's go.
Ooh, I thought I hated the last guy, but here comes Brant Fire Guy Matthews. Excuse me, can we get a word on how you feel about today's verdict?
I am so disappointed that this movie was what I had to defend. And I appreciate the time here with all of you on this wonderful day that we got to experience the Reels of Justice.
Oh, you both make me sick. That's all we have from the courthouse today. Let's go back to the studio for post-trial analysis, stupid fucking fake movie court.
Jesus, Grumbly.
Ryan, I want you to take your blood pressure before you do Grumbly and after, and I just want to see if there's a difference.
Well, I don't know. My Fitbit is going crazy because my pulse is spiking.
I love it.
83? My God! I've never heard. I don't know if I've ever heard Grumbly curse though. I think that's beyond grumbling. But
hey, it's a brand new day.
Fun case, fantastic job, Fire Guy. Like you were totally believable and passionate the whole time.
I watched it like a couple hours ago, and then I was like, "All right,
really?
I gotta talk about it." Yeah.
Wow.
So it was fun. I wish I had more time. I'm just like I've just been so busy.
I'm not kidding. I give you like a decent movie, like a 50-50 movie, not this. You do all right.
And I think
fun.
if this had been Stallone and had obviously been some other draft, like I think The Prisoners were probably a real subplot. There's probably a script that was completely all about the whole Wint thing because that's kind of fertile, but they don't do anything really
This
with it
movie
here.
was just like money. It was like bad money, like just putting a bullshit story together.
Didn't make any.
And it didn't make any money. Yeah, because like it was just too much bad money chasing bad money to make. But it's amazing it got made. Like I can't believe. That's what I say in 1998. Like it's you just some coked up guy going smoke jumpers. We need to talk about smoke jumpers, and someone just bought it. Like before, like you could put a guy with a video camera and go find smoke jumpers. You know what I mean?
Man, I just want Howie Long to make more movies. Come on.
No, well, he did. You know what? He just transitioned from that. It was perfect for him. Hey, I got this day, and then he became the Fox guy on NFL Today or whatever it is.
I think he was already doing that at the time. There was a lot of cross promotion.
There was. I could tell you.
Yeah.
Because his career ended in '93, and this happened. Yeah, so
they filmed around it. They filmed because he had to film the shows on like Friday and Saturday, so they filmed around.
You know, and to be honest, it's good that he's got this gig. What's a cooler gig than what he's got now? He talks on Sunday. He does he's way better life than me. He doesn't want to be The Rock. Like
I think the issue was trying to make him a leading man. Like he's fine in Broken Arrow as the guy who gets kicked off a train and screams. And I think he's got a cameo in 300 Miles to Graceland too. He might be an Elvis or something.
He actually also has a deleted scene as someone's gay lover in another movie, but the name of it escapes me. Yeah, no, he does.
Wow.
There's a lot about this one, so.
Yeah, well, hold on. You talk to our guest. I'll look up the movie where Howie Long's gay.
No, don't do it. Is it the 1984? Is it the 1984 one, In and Out?
That thing you do.
No. I'll look it up. I'll let you know.
It's that thing you do.
Fire guy, what has been keeping you busy? What do you do when you're not here?
So I met you guys at the Big E. I was doing shows at the Big E and in Massachusetts, which is the only state fair that's put on by multiple states. And I go.
We go to state fairs for fun, people. It's true.
Yeah. I was. Who doesn't? Why wouldn't you? You know, state fairs are been going on for 100+ years. It's an amazing thing, and it's a thing we should all celebrate because good times and bad. There's always a state fair,
and there's always fried dough.
And there's always fried dough. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. And fun. You know, I love going to state fairs because I love going to see like the people that sell because it's still real. It's still like a bazaar. Like somebody's trying to sell you a keychain. Someone's trying to sell you this. Someone's trying to sell you that. And then they're eat this. Try it in this. No, why would anybody eat this? Just eat it. It's great. I love it. And you know, I was at the from the Florida State Fair to the Alaska State Fair this year, like, and everywhere in between, and it was what an amazing year. And then coming here on Reels of Justice makes me very excited that you guys actually do this right now.
Yeah, well, Fire Guy, you had a podcast for a bit where you had stories from your career.
It's on my website.
Yeah,
I see it as a series of 10 stories. Yes.
Yeah, and I if you want to share one, I gotta say the story you told about the Australian family that took you in, that just blew my mind. Like that was an amazing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the story. Yeah. So it's this is called Asking in Australia. So when I start, my expertise is I'm a very good street entertainer. Like or street shows. I do stage shows now as well, but that was how I started doing street shows. And so I was in Australia doing street shows. And Australia is the hardest place in the world to do street shows because they are a no-nonsense culture.
Australia?
Australia.
Crocodile Dundee people.
Just like the average Joe and Jane, you know what I mean? They're
the people that box kangaroos, no nonsense.
No nonsense. Yeah, no, for real. Like it's desert people, you know what I mean? Your car breaks down in the desert, it's a problem. So anyhow, so I'm in Adelaide, Australia, at this festival, and I've got an apartment. A hotel that they paid for till the end of the festival. But I wanted to stay afterwards because there was this another festival started, but I didn't have an apartment. And this is the time of my life where I didn't have that much money. And so I'm living like as an artist, all right, I got this place to stay. And then I didn't have a place to stay. And in the last show, I just said at the end of my show, I go, hey, because it was a busker festival where you ask for money and you get like tips, right? And so I asked also, I said, hey, if anybody has a place for me to stay, I would love it because I want to stay here for the next week for this other festival. So anyhow, this couple comes up to me after, and I just said it like as a lark, like it just came out of me. I didn't even want to say it, just came out. And then this couple comes up to me after, goes, oh, my wife and we have an autistic daughter, and she laughs so much at your show. You're more than welcome to come stay with us. And then they gave me their number. And I went, to their house. I'm going up to their house, and this is the day later, because I needed a place to stay. I went back, packed up my stuff, going up, and I'm on the way up to her place, and I see the place, and it's like, oh my God, this place it's a nice neighborhood. And then it turns out there's a gate, and I go in, and I have a pool house, and there were like doctors at this hospital, and their daughter and I ended up staying in this pool house, and I had a pool, and I'm sitting there all just because I asked for a place to stay. And I got to be, quite friendly with the family, and it was just such a wonderful time. And so there's, if you just ask for things, I know that whole show, the secret is a little bit of a BS show, but like really, sometimes if you just ask for something and it can happen. I mean, it has happened. I couldn't believe it.
Schlender, I need $50.
Well, okay, you got it.
Barry Gillen's phone number. Anyone out there have it? Send it to me.
Yeah.
Reels of Justice.
That is good. Now, but Fire Guy, you are also a Guinness record holder, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I ate the most torches in 1 minute. The old record was 99. And I ate 101 torches. And
Another one to grow on, too.
Yeah.
I ate 102 torches earlier. I forgot to record it, but
You got it. It's not official.
I would
Doesn't
applaud
count.
it merrily because I'll never do that again. I was drinking smoothies for like a month.
yeah, there is footage of it that we could, because you showed it to us.
Yes,
Maybe.
check it out. It's on it's Fire Guy Show. I'm Fire Guy Show on all social media. So if you like me today, if you want to leave a positive comment, hey, I'm Fire Guy Show.
You have a great website too. It's
Yeah.
actually really nice.
Thanks.
I was looking.
Oh,
at it.
yeah.
This is very professional.
If you didn't
I
like
was
me,
like, why does he talk to us?
well, I do a lot of shows. It's crazy. I'm in the new Adam Sandler movie. You don't even have to watch the movie. Just watch the trailer for 8 seconds. You're so not invited to my bat mitzvah. And then boom, 8 seconds. And you see Fire Guy breathing fire.
Oh, sweet.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
fun
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love you guys. You guys were really, really funny. Who did I meet at the Big E?
Oh, so that was Maynard and myself.
And who's myself?
Oh, Dylan. Yes.
Oh, hey, Maynard and Dylan. All right.
Yes.
Schlenzo.
Yeah, or Schlenzo.
That's
as
probably
the
why he
case
doesn't
may
get
be.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Schlenzo.
Right. No.
Now-
Very cool. This is
Yeah.
I love your production. I think this is fantastic. This is I really appreciate being here.
Well, we
I
have
like
a lot of
having
fun. And
a different kind of artist perspective on stuff
Yeah.
too. And I thought you made some great points, especially about how he could actually probably be a smoke jumper. He's got the physicality.
Well, I was really reaching, man.
I think that holds
you reached into your
true.
soul.
no, I thought it was a good point.
Sometimes
179 games in the NFL. That is like an amazing achievement.
That is.
To
Yeah.
100, so that's why I was trying to find a real, because it's a terrible movie. Like it's so bad. It really is. Like,
I love this movie. What's wrong with me?
As an artist,
man, we don't
I
have
enjoyed
time.
watching this dude. Like I would have it on and laugh with my wife while it's on and stuff. But I like it's not a popcorn like eating movie. It's a
Or pay attention.
But we
to.
want to
You
know
have beers,
what
you talk over it.
is, which is why we always ask for recommendations for movies from our guests for movies that you think people should see. So, what is a movie that you think people should see?
Fantastic transition, Maynard.
Flawless
what movie
segue.
does Fire Guy really think people should see? Oh my god, no! I mean, like, there's too many movies.
Do you want someone else to go first?
Okay, sure. I'm gonna.
All right. I'll go first. I'll set the tone. Now, the director of today's movie, Dean Semler, is mostly known for his work as a cinematographer, of which his resume is quite impressive, including an Academy Award for Best Cinematography for 1990's Dances with Wolves. Nice job, Dean. You should have stayed wherever the cinematographer stands in relation to the director. I don't know. You should have stayed in your fucking lane is my point, Dino. However, fortunately for Dean, his unfortunate foray into directing didn't cost him his entire career, because just 1 year later, Dean was back doing what Dean does best, baby. Cinematography, with my recommendation this week, 1999's The Bone Collector. No, it isn't a family-friendly romp about man's best friend. It's a gritty crime thriller starring Denzel Washington and the utterly sublime Angelina Jolie, back when she was still at her most subliminal. A quadriplegic ex-homicide detective must unravel the clues being left behind by a mysterious serial killer. The movie tries a little too hard to cash in on the whole Silence of the Lambs meets Seven thing with a dash of a window thrown in there. But if you're in the mood for a 90s crime thriller, this one has got the vibes you're looking for. And of course, both Denzel and Jolie more than satisfy, delivering performances far better than the script deserves. Plus, keep an eye out for a surprise appearance by none other than Queen Latifah in a very prominent role featured heavily across several sequences. She's in the movie, like in it, like an actor would be. It's weird. The Bone Collector is currently streaming. See, just like that, Fire Guy. So now you do the same thing.
God,
back in time and compare us.
I didn't even know I had to do a thing.
All right. Well, here we
Putting
go.
people in the
Dylan.
hot seat.
So
but
here
let's
we go.
throw it over to the judge.
The movie where Howie Long was homosexual and it was deleted was That Thing You Do with Tom Hanks.
I said that two
Ben
times.
said that you said it like 3 times.
You guys don't listen
just,
to me.
I'm just confirming it now.
I heard it earlier, Ben, and I literally thought it was a joke. So,
well, I just had to
And you
confirm
didn't
it.
laugh because it wasn't funny.
All right.
I smiled. It was like one of those smiling jokes.
It was a
Really good at
knowing
those, Ben.
smile that you can't
Uh-huh.
see on a
It was a
podcast.
William Forsythe knowing smirk.
Yes, that's why he keeps calling you Mr. Haslar. So anyway, so my recommendation, my quest to find the heir apparent to Charles Bronson, realistically, it's over. I'm probably okay saying it's Liam Neeson. However, that is not stopping other old guys from taking a crack at it. And I am just as shocked as you are to be recommending a Sean Penn movie, and it is 2015's The Gunman. An aged, though remarkably ripped Penn stars as a mercenary that is being hunted for his involvement in an assassination that occurred years before. The action is slick and kinetic. The supporting cast is engaging with a standout and a particularly drunken, mean Javier Bardem. He didn't even know they were making a movie.
Got him.
I know, right? All in all, this movie is striving to be an elevated hacker, and I dare say it may just hit the mark. Now, this was 2015. Did Penn keep pushing? Only by diving deeper into Tubi can I find out. Wish me luck, boys.
He'll
No.
never come back up. We're going to send to the other two. We're going to make Fire Guy go last now.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
I'm
for
getting there.
last.
I'm almost ready. I'm like preparing.
Big Ben, what do you got?
I put it to you, gentlemen, that somewhere in this vast multiverse that everyone believes in now, there's a Dylan J. Schlender who didn't grow up watching Bronson or Arnie or whoever else he was watching, these American manly men, and instead got really into Japanese cinema. Japanese cinema featuring big, tough swordsmen with plenty of blood, naked bath fights, and femme fatales. And that Dylan would have recommended all 26 Daiei Zatoichi films. Perhaps even mine today. Zatoichi goes to the Fire Festival because, fire.
Yeah.
Ironically, in this other universe, the Ben there probably is really into Brazilian films, so he wouldn't even be friends with that Dylan. Anyway, if you're not familiar with Zatoichi, he's a blind masseur who happens to be a master swordsman who lived in the Edo period of Japan, and beyond the Daiei films has appeared in numerous remakes, spin-offs, and television shows. The formula for this and other Ichi films are pretty standard. He makes a living massaging people, playing dice, and somehow gets entangled into Yakuza activity by protecting some innocent bystander. Despite his often altruistic actions, he believes himself to be an unredeemable man, unworthy of love, as killing seems to come so naturally to him. In Fire Festival, he comes across a villain who, much like himself, is also blind and a great warrior. But unlike Ichi, he is actually evil, and rather just believing he is. And you can bet that some bloody swordplay follows. But don't take my word for it. I'm on the importance of this series. All 26 Daiei films have that Criterion stamp emblazoned upon them, so I can only assume it comes Ryan recommended as well.
All right, Ben, I actually have seen all the Zatoichi movies, and I love them because IFC used to do Samurai Sundays back in the day, and my dad and I would watch them all the time. So it's not an alternate
That universe
convention.
is this universe. I crossed over. I crossed over. How do I get back? Oh no. Oh no.
They're still going back. No, great recommendation. Those movies are excellent. Oh, I love those, man. As soon as you started saying it, and I was like, oh my God, he's going to say Zatoichi. I love Zatoichi.
Ryan, what do you got?
My recommendation this week concerns one of my favorite stylist auteurs, David Fincher, and his most recent film, 2023's The Killer. It follows, yes, a killer, no name. The credits literally list him as The Killer, and many other characters don't have formal names, played by Michael Fassbender. You know the drill. A hit goes wrong, he goes on the run, his employer sticks a bunch of assassins on him, they attack someone close to him, he goes from country to country, state to state on a quest for revenge, etc. The
Death Wish
plot is not important. It's merely a vehicle for Fincher to comment on his own notorious tendency for precise, some say cold pragmatism with a digital sheen veneer, and in a sense you could read this as either an auto-critique or just a bit of self-parody. It's for Fincher what Tucker the Man in His Dream was for Coppola. His substituted cars for movies, and Fincher substitutes professional murder. It looks amazing, and I'm severely irked that I was denied the pleasure of seeing it in a theater where I could luxuriate in the visuals on a large silver screen, sound that I can feel. Some outbreak feels good in a place like this. Sorry, I got stuck in the AMC ad. The Killer is currently streaming exclusively on Netflix. Yuck.
I've seen that ad no less than 1,000 times. Don't make me relive it.
I can't believe that all four of us recommended movies where a badass killer is the central figure. That's really cool.
Oh yeah, well, it seems like it would be inspired by it. But I do. By now, they need to take the Nicole Kidman ad and do a shot-by-shot remake of it with like Ryan Reynolds. Just doing
that would be funny.
Everything the same thing, giving the same delivery, and it would be funny, and people wouldn't mind that for like 10 more years. So
Ryan Reynolds could do it. Like, he could do that exact same delivery and make it funny.
If they don't do a special one just for Deadpool, they're stupid. But I think they should just do it permanently. That'd be funny. Cool. Now, Fire Guy, big drum roll, big finish. Right.
My movie suggestion is a 2002 movie called The Tuxedo. An American science fiction action comedy directed by Kevin Donovan, starring none other than Jackie Chan and Jennifer Love Hewitt. Now, this is a spy parody where Jackie Chan is somebody who is just a regular guy until he gets this magical tuxedo that allows him to do off-the-ball antics and allows him to be into this super spy world with this tuxedo. It's a funny movie with Jennifer Love Hewitt, and reason I think it is basically his Firestorm. And because it's a paint by numbers, funny comedy, action, Jackie Chan movie, and Fire Guy was in that movie. So,
the truth
twist ending.
He stands to profit. No, I mean, I think it sounds beyond paint by numbers. I think it sounds, kind of unique and quirky and fun. Does Jennifer Love Hewitt do martial arts?
Jennifer Love Hewitt does not do martial arts.
She's the guy on the computer.
But I did have lunch with her, and
cool,
on the same table. So which was cool. But I just waved and said hi.
I don't just.
2000. It was filmed in 2001, guys.
Lunch with is lunch near.
But it was. You know what? I gotta say, when you're in, I was on Jackie Chan's stunt team for this film. And when you're in the presence of someone like Jackie Chan, you're in the presence of someone like Jackie Chan. It's an amazing thing.
Did you guys get to eat noodles during noodle time?
There was noodles, but it was Toronto where it was filmed, so there was also salad.
I was going to say probably Canadian noodles, maybe. I don't know how they are.
Yeah,
but
we call it spaghetti.
So you're...
Boy, are you Canadian, eh? Just like that guy in the movie?
Yeah. Spaghetti and gravy, the Canadian ramen. Delicious. But with that, we are all at a show, but we want to thank our guest, Brant Matthews, Fire Guy, for joining us. Thank you so much, Fire Guy.
Thank you.
And that's the real one. And we hope everyone else will join us again as well next time as the Reels of Justice keep turning.
Count it.
Please follow us on Twitter at Reels of Justice, Instagram Reels of Justice, and Facebook.com/Reels of Justice.